First, would you prefer to have Rishi Sunak back in charge after this chaotic 3 months under Labour? 020 7862 2222. Do give us a call. A new survey has revealed the Labour government is already less liked than the previous Tory one, despite only taking power less than 3 months ago. This comes after a rocky start for Keir Starmer amid a number of rows over donations made by Lord Ali, freebies accepted by ministers, and the decision to cut winter fuel payments for pensioners. A third of Labour voters who took part in the survey also said they regret voting Labour altogether. I don't know whether you want to say how you voted, Helen. Are you beginning to regret it?
No, I think it's an interesting one. They have only been in power for 3 months, and I think people have got short memories. I think it wouldn't take much to remind people of just what Sunak did and said and all his really daft things.
What about you?
So I have a name. So when it comes to,
what about you, Maxie?
When it comes to it, I think what Keir Starmer promised in the election, because they didn't really give very much policy, is that they promised that a lot of the things that we were all so furious about with the previous government were going to go. And the problem is that they haven't delivered on that. And when you start to have a look at some of the decisions that they have taken, particularly when it comes to the winter fuel payment, that they didn't seem to administer that with common sense. They talked about a 22 billion hole, half of which they created. They talked about various different other issues that they found, and they haven't provided sensible solutions. For example, the creation of Great British Energy. What's that going to do? Our energy bills are going up by 10%. They're not applying their brains to come up with better policy, which is actually going to, or which are actually going to deal with the problems that we, the nation, face.
They may have to do some long-term investments. I mean, Great British Energy is an example of something that will be more expensive at the start to get us into wind power.
But you have a look at the execution; it's really poor. And then when you have a look at the whole, Starmergate, free gear Keir and all this sort of business, they did say that they were going to stamp out the sleaze. And when you've done something wrong, you've got to admit. When the light is shone, you've got to admit, and it's taken them an awfully long time to realise that some things, absolutely fine to go to stuff, but there are some things where, for example, if you've pointed out to an individual and said, it's wrong that you're taking this money to do up your wallpaper, you're so selfish, you're so this, and then not to think that a free holiday yourself, which is actually entirely and completely selfish, is wrong and the optics aren't good, I'm sorry, then you haven't got any judgment. You shouldn't be in power.
I know you voted for an independent candidate at the election, Helen, so you're in a beautiful position here. You could tell us whether you're one way or the other. Which way have you moved since the election? Have you moved towards Labour or away from Labour?
It's a difficult one to say, because I actually think I agree with some of what you're saying, in that some things haven't been done. There isn't creativity.
He wants Sunak back in, basically. It's a long way of saying that.
No, I didn't say that at all.
Absolutely
well, it sounded like it.
No, it didn't.
It sounded like you think they did a terrible job and Sunak would do a better job.
I think he would do a less bad job, but I wouldn't want him back in, thanks.
There we are.
No, but I think 3 months you need to give him a chance, and I think I would say that we've had 14 years of damage. He's got a long way to go. You can't get him to rectify it in 3 months. Yes, he's making some mistakes. The fuel should have been next year. He's trying to put some things through too quickly.
But when Labour said, look, we'll sort out the small boats by smashing the gangs, did anyone say that's not going to work because they're already trying it? They didn't really, did they? It's now, I suppose, going to be quite clear that the small boats problem is endemic now. Well, there's nothing that could be done. I don't think that's. Well, what do you think? I think Rwanda would have worked.
I don't necessarily agree with the Rwanda plan. I think it was a huge throwing out of money and a completely wasted resource, and we spent way too much time on it. Having said that, I do think there is some merit in the conversations with the Europeans, with the EU, to try and make sure that that is dealt with. But I think until or unless somebody...
We're still in the land of being waterboarded for leaving.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, you say that, but I don't actually think that's the case, and particularly when you've got Michel Barnier as the French Prime Minister.
80 years' time, they'll forgive us.
No. I don't think. I think there are a lot of people across Europe who totally understand what the UK did, and they've got many issues themselves. And in fact, if you go to France and Germany and Switzerland, which is not part of the EU, but you go to Switzerland, you go to Holland, they have exactly the same problems, and everybody is kind of washing their hands of the whole immigration situation. Okay. And that means that you need to talk and communicate. It doesn't actually mean that you need to rejoin the EU.
But
nothing to do with it.
On a preference, I'm taking you as because you really don't think Starmer's doing a good job. You would, if you had to choose, you'd go Sunak. Okay, What
I
about
think he's
you?
got more integrity.
If you had to choose, Helen.
I think Starmer. Whether he'll last, I don't know.
All right.
I don't think he will. I think the wheels are falling off.
Not relevant.
But,
not relevant. I'm just asking for today. Derek in Northamptonshire, hi.
Oh, good morning, Jeremy.
Sunak or Starmer? If you just forget everything and you've got a choice, who's in number 10 today? Sunak or Starmer?
Mr. Sunak.
Right. You think he was harshly treated, was he?
I wouldn't say that necessarily, but when I look back over his leadership, I consider him to be a caring, compassionate, nice person. And of course, he introduced.
Helen is shaking her head, Derek. Why are you shaking your head?
Well, look at what they do, the language that he uses. I mean, he tries to be sort of a man of the people, but some of the things that he says, you know, going to a homeless shelter and asking somebody if they run a business.
Someone said it was brilliant that on his last day in office, his wife wore a QR code.
Yes.
It's probably unfair. Derek, answer Helen.
Well, I think we need to remember that under his leadership we had furlough, the uplift in universal credit, the Eat Out to Help Out scheme, help with cost of living, help with energy bills, and he also said he would raise the tax-free allowance on incomes in line with inflation, which would overcome the fiscal drag that we've been experiencing. And he also had a plan to control immigration. I don't think any of this applies to the present leadership.
No. OK, Derek, well, let's see. This is the first 3 months. It's brutal. Politics is so brutal. You used to get a year before someone would say. It's like being a Premier League
But the level of
manager.
incompetence that we've seen is absolutely... I mean...
Well, they're the equivalent of a new league manager in the Premier League losing their first 4 games and realising, oh, my goodness, we're already under threat. Our job's under threat. Sharon in Cheshire, Sunak or Starmer?
Oh, definitely Sunak.
Really? You as well?
Absolutely. I'm dreading the budget. I've got a small business, a hair and beauty salon, and I just dread it because it will affect the normal everyday person. The rich, it won't matter. Say, for example, he put £2 on prescriptions. The rich won't be bothered. If you don't pay and you're getting benefits, you won't have to pay that extra. But the normal person who's on the minimum wage or just above might have to pay that. And
I wonder whether they might do. So, I mean, they'll want to do something on the rich, and I wonder whether they might just say we're going to make sure, abolish trusts or something. So you just basically pay 40% inheritance tax on everything you've got when you... Or I don't know, something... What do you think, James?
But they've already... You see, the thing is that they've already done that. And I have a problem when people go after ideology. So I quite agree, Sharon, when you talk about small businesses, it's so important. There are so many people up and down the country who are making ends meet. It's really hard to do. There are things that the government could do to make it easier and better, and they're not doing it. But when it comes to soaking the rich, I totally understand that people need to pay their share. But if, for example, you frighten people off, the wealthier you are, rightly or wrongly, you are more mobile. The money's gone, so you get a bigger percentage of nothing. I want to keep people here and to get a little bit more from
Sharon,
them.
what are you
I don't
worried
want to
about?
frighten them off.
Tell me what your business is, Sharon.
I've got a hair and beauty salon.
Sorry, yeah, you said. I'm so sorry. So what are you worried that they're going to tax there? Is it business rates or what?
Well, I'm just worried that the people that come in, if they've got to pay, everything goes up for them. Will they still support my business and keep my staff in a job and me? And it is a worry. You do worry how things are going to turn out, and it's just all the rumours about single occupancy for council tax is going to go. That's a lot of money to people.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Sharon. They have had their fingers burnt really badly with the winter fuel payments, so they'll be, I think, careful on that kind of thing. OK, but we'll take some more calls after the break. We are now more calls on who you prefer as Prime Minister. Let's keep it simple here. Starmer or Sunak, 0207 862 2222. Do call us. Janet in Lancashire, Starmer or Sunak?
Oh, definitely Rishi. Absolutely Rishi, 100%, Jeremy.
Why? Why is Starmer just kind of falling apart like this?
Well, to be a liar, you have to have a very good memory. And unfortunately, Keir Starmer has only told lies as far as I can see. He promised he was going to look after the pensioners and he was going to stop the immigration. He was going to get stuff happening very quickly. And in the few days that they've been in power, I think that they've just totally turned out to be a bunch of liars, robbers and hypocrites.
Okay, as I say, it's brutal. I don't want to sort of challenge what you've said. It's your opinion. They're only just. I mean, he's literally just got his dancing shoes on. It's incredible, Helen. Don't you think this society we're in now?
It is. I mean, it just things move on very, very quickly. It depends, I think, how much he listens and how much he can change. The budget's coming. He can make changes to that. I think he needs to listen about the winter fuel.
Not going to happen. Not going to happen. They've absolutely said we're not changing. So yeah, and they've said the pensions go up next year and that'll make up for it.
But they might say we're not changing. But we've seen politicians turn on a sixpence.
I think they're going to have to demonstrate that they listen, because I think one of the issues here is that it's all very well saying that you're going to go and raise money from doing X, Y, Z, but if the money doesn't actually come in because, for example, the rich people take flight, or for example, it actually costs you more to provide schooling because you put VAT on school fees, and then the special schools that deal with particularly with people with learning difficulties and all the other stuff that people then pay for and all that stuff. It's the unintended consequence of something that you think is a really good idea.
I don't whether that policy might change. I don't know, but that one's.
I don't think it will change, but I think ideologically, when it doesn't raise any money and people see that their choices are reduced, and in fact that it's ideological and it's not making things better, then I think people are going to be fed up with it.
Raymond in North Yorkshire, hi.
Oh.
Oh. All right.
Yes, indeed.
What do you think, Starmer or Sunak? We're giving you a really clear choice here.
Starmer by a million miles. Have the people got short memories? We've just had the most corrupt, lies and fleas and power we've ever had.
Well, Helen agrees with you.
Even further than the 15 years. What about when Edwina Curry privatised the dentist? People are now pulling their own bloody teeth out, for God's sake. It's unbelievably.
Was it Edwina Curry who privatised the dentist?
Yes, it was.
Or did they? I thought it was whatever. It was a contract that made it impossible to be an NHS dentist without losing money, basically, I think. But yeah, okay, fair enough. Do you pull your own teeth out, Raymond?
No, absolutely not.
Well, no, but you're not joking. There are a lot of people doing it. It's a serious thing.
I know your poor souls are terrible. Really is.
Piece of string, door handle.
Oh, God.
But do you think Keir Starmer can change things?
Well, absolutely. I mean, the Tories keep bashing the unions, but what are the unions? The unions are the working people. The union bosses are only carrying out the fairness, what they say, for the workers. The workers vote for it. And let's face it, the health service was going right down the pan, and it would have continued going down the pan.
I'm not sure it's not.
They don't care about it. I mean, mention reform. That's Farage, I call him. He wants to have like the Americans, where we've got to get insurance. Remember the woman that in the bomb blast was from America? She didn't want them to help to save her leg because she didn't want to pay the bill.
Yeah. Well, I mean, something's got to change. The NHS has got such severe problems. I don't know what the answer is. Thank you, Raymond. Vicky in Lincolnshire, hi. Sunak or Starmer?
Starmer.
Starmer. Okay, you're Starmer as well. So you think give him a chance?
He's only just come into power. You've got to give him a chance. He's been given a broken NHS system. People are struggling, like Raymond said, with dentists. You can't get an NHS dentist. My husband is still on the wait list, 4 years down the line for an NHS dentist. It's ridiculous. You know, this man has been given a government that is in shambles. And, you know, I agree he's gone the wrong way about the winter fuel payment. I understand that. He needs to rework it. There are some pensioners out there, and I'm not against pensioners whatsoever, but they have private pensions. You know, they're okay. It's the little pensioners, the ones that are on, you know, just a state pension that need more help. They shouldn't have that taken away from them.
Yeah, but hang on. You're arguing... Are you arguing for Starmer here or Sunak or what?
Starmer, because
he's the one who took the payment away.
Yeah, but he needs to rethink it and say, you know, yeah, I understand, you know, there's a lot of people against it, but then they also need to look at it and say, right, we've done it wrong. We shouldn't take it away from the pensioners who are only on state pension.
Right. Okay.
But people just need to give this man a chance. He's only been in, like you said, for 3 months. He can't work miracles in 3 months.
Right, look at the damage he's done in 3 months. That's all I'd say.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your calls on this later.